There are many stories that we tell our children. Stories of princes and princesses, stories of history and adventure, stories of dragons and unicorns. There are hundreds of stories for just about everything in the world. Everything, that is, except for sheep. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, but what about the 3 billy goats gruff? Listen, just stop it, okay? Jeez. Anyway, Chuck was a young merino sheep, born in New Zealand. He was a kind sheep, but he had no friends. To you or I, he might appear as a normal-looking sheep, but to the other sheep, he looked strange. Most noticeable was Chuck's eyes. They were different from other sheep eyes, brighter and more alive and intelligent. Other sheep would look at Chuck and say, "Bah!" But that's only what it would sound like to someone who did not speak Bahnese. What they actually said was, "Chuck, keep your freaky eyes away from me, or so help me, I will cut you." Chuck wasn't fazed, though. He just continued to practice his dance moves. Chuck loved to dance, and believed that if one day he could dance well enough, Kate would love him. "Hey," you shout. "This is Happy Feet, and I call shenanigans." Seriously, you need to sit down and listen. I did not realize that this was Happy Feet either until now, but seriously, it changes, so just don't worry. Kate was the most beautiful sheep in the field, and Chuck loved her. Chuck knew that one day he and Kate would be married, and he would be the happiest sheep in the world. Unfortunately, she was with Simon, the biggest, meanest ram in the herd. One day, Chuck saw Kate alone in the field and knew that this was his chance. Chuck started dancing with all of his heart, twisting and jumping and twirling in a fluffy white whirlwind of emotion. Kate watched, amazed. Chuck's moves touched her very soul. It was at this time that Simon headbutted Chuck. Chuck woke up hours later in the field. He began to cry, big sheepy tears. Chuck cried for hours and hours, soaking his wool. Eventually, Chuck noticed that he was not crying alone. Above him, in the sky, was another sheep. The biggest, fluffiest sheep that Chuck had ever seen. No one had ever felt sorry for Chuck before, and the kind tears of this sky sheep made Chuck happier than he'd ever been in his life. Chuck looked up at the sky sheep and instantly fell in love. The sky sheep was the most beautiful sheep in the world, and Chuck loved her. He would spend days lying in the field watching her lazily drift through the sky. Chuck knew that one day he and the sky sheep would be married, and they would be the happiest sheep in the world.